New at 10, a potentially hazardous situation for a time in Chandler earlier this evening that temporarily forced some evacuations near I-10 and the Loop 202. That now seems to be over.
A fire that's been burning at an SRP substation in the area since Monday is now under control. Chandler Fire tells us that lithium-ion batteries used to store energy have been smoldering in that SRP facility all week. And tonight, firefighters used robots to help keep it contained.
Team 12's Mitch Carr is live in Chandler. And Mitch, are the evacuations completely over?
Good evening, Caribe and Mark, and yes, they are. This is near, as you mentioned, I-10 and Loop 202 Santan Freeway. It is the Knox substation, and those evacuations were temporary between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. So anybody that needs to come back to these businesses, despite the late hour, they are welcome to do so. Now, what's it like out here? You won't see any flames and you won't see any smoke, but you can't smell through the television. But if you were here, you could smell burning metal. If you've ever been around somebody that's been welding something, the smell is a little bit like that. Now, Chandler Fire is taking a defensive position on this fire, and that is because of information it gleaned from a very similar fire incident that happened almost 3 years ago to the day all the way across the valley. April 9th, 2019.
One of the units over here just exploded. Sounds like a firefighter might be down.
An explosion as Peoria's fire medical hazmat team assessed smoke coming out of an APS storage facility in Surprise.
3 years ago this month, firefighters were hurt when a battery storage facility caught fire in the Northwest Valley. Fast forward to this week in Chandler, no one has been hurt, and Chandler Fire says the incident is under control.
We understand what potential hazards are inside. So at that point, we took a defensive strategy, and for us means we're not going to open the door and go in with our personnel to take a look.
Instead, Chandler Fire used robots to open up doors in the facility, letting out potentially harmful and flammable gases. Chandler Fire and police recommended nearby businesses evacuate between 6 and 8 p.m. Thursday night and shut down 56th Street between Fry and Allison, all out of caution.
We call that a potential hazard, and so that was the reason for the evacuation, is we wanted people outside of a certain area so that they were not, in any harm's way for chemical release.
SRP uses the facility to store energy, which can then be used during peak usage times. But a spokesman said SRP power customers in the area should not be impacted.
Temperatures are relatively mild. Our customer demand is relatively low, so it's really not an impact to us from a system perspective.
There are more than 3,000 metal batteries tightly packed in a small building, and they've been smoking for several days. But none of the folks charged with containing this incident seem worried. And that's because of what they learned from the incident in Surprise 3 years ago.
One of the things that we, again, do a great job regionally is train with each other, share information, and obviously learn from those types of incidents.
Now, this part's a little bit confusing, but this is an SRP facility, this substation, but the actual battery storage facility is owned by a company called AES, and an AES spokesperson said that this substation is almost always unmanned except for some routine maintenance, and he said there's no reason to believe that anybody was inside of this battery storage facility that may have potentially caused that fire, but he also said, hey, this thing is still smoking right now, so it's way too early to figure out any cause for what caused this fire. They're going to have to continue investigating to see exactly how this happened, and they will continue to do that, or they'll be able to start doing that once the fire is actually out. Reporting live in Chandler, Mitch Carr, 12 News at 10.